Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vrndesa Ranjana. Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vrndesa Ranjana. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtottara Sadasri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtottara Sadasri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Canto 6, Chapter 9, entitled The Appearance of the Demon Vritrasura, verse number 26 and 27. Yo nasapatnir bhrishamardhyamanan Devashritiryan rishu nitya eva Kritavatara tanubhisvamayaya Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha Yonah sapatner bhrishamardhyamanan Devarshitiriryan rishu nitya eva Kritavataras swamayaya Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha Yonah sapatnair bhrishamardhyamanan Devarshitiriryan rishu nitya eva Kritavataras tanubhisvamayaya Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha Yonah sapatne bhrishamardhyamanan Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha Yonah sapatne bhrishamardhyamanan Devarshitiriryan rishu nitya eva Kritavataras tanubhisvamayaya Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha. Matajis. Yonah sapatne bhrishamardhyamanan Devarshitiriryan rishu nitya eva Kritavatara tanubhisvamayaya Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha Yonah sapatne bhrishamardhyamanan Devarshitiriryan rishu nitya eva Kritavataras tanubhisvamayaya Kritvatmasatpadi yuge yuge cha Tameva devam vayamatmadaivatam param pradhanam purusham vishwamanyan vrajama sarve charanam sharanyam ghanam sanodhyasya disham mahatma. Here word to word translation responsibly please. Yaha, he who, naha, us, sapatnehi, by our enemies the demons, bhrisham, almost always, ardhyamanan, being persecuted, deva, among the demigods, rishi, the saintly persons, tiryak, the animals, nrishu, and men, nityaha, always, eva, certainly, kritva avataraha, appearing as in an incarnation, tanubhihi, with different forms, samaya, by his internal potency, kritva atmasat, considering very near and dear to him, pati, protects, yuge yuge, in every millennium, cha, and. Okay. Translation: by his inconceivable internal potency, the Supreme Personality of Godhead expands into various transcendental bodies as Vamanadev, the incarnation of strength among the demigods, Parashurama, the incarnation among saints, Nrsimhadev and Varaha, incarnations among animals, and Matsya and Kurma, incarnations among aquatics. He accepts various transcendental bodies among all types of living entities and among human beings. He especially appears as Lord Krishna and Lord Rama. By his causeless mercy, he protects the demigods who are always harassed by the demons. He is the supreme worshipable deity of all living entities. He is the supreme cause represented as the male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form Virat Rupa. In our fearful condition, let us take shelter of him, for we are sure that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul, will give us his protection. Purport by His Name and Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is ascertained to be the original cause of creation. Sridhara Swami, in his commentary Bhavartha Deepika, replies to the idea that Pagadi and Purusha are the cause of the cosmic manifestations. As stated here in Param Pradhanam Purusham Vishwam Anyam, he is the supreme cause represented as the male and female creative energies. Although different from the universe, he exists in his universal form, Virat Rupa. The word Prakriti, which is used to indicate the source of generation, refers to the material energy of the Supreme Lord, and the word Purusha refers to the living entities, who are the superior energy of the Lord. Both the Prakriti and Purusha ultimately enter the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prakritim yanti mamikam. Although Prakriti and Purusha superficially appear to be the cause of the material manifestation, both are emanations of different energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the cause of Prakriti and Purusha. He is the original cause, Sarva Karana Karanam. The Naradiya Purana says, Avigarobi Paramaha Pragadistu Vikarini Anu Pravishya Govindaha Pragadischabi Dhiyate. Both the Pagadi and Purusha, which are inferior and superior energies, are emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, Gam Avishya, and Lord enters the Pagadi, and then the Pagadi creates different manifestations. The Pagadi is not independent or beyond his energies. Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, is the original cause of everything. Therefore, Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10:8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matah sarvam pravartade idi matva bhajante ma bhajante mam buddha bhava samannitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. In Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 2.9.33, the Lord also says, Aham evasam evagre. Only I existed before the creation. This is confirmed in Brahmanda Purana as follows. Smritir avya vadhanena pragaditvam idistitaha ubhayatmaka suditvat vasudeva parah puman pragadi purushaschedi shabde ego bidhiyate. To generate the universe, the Lord acts indirectly as the Purusha and directly as the Prakriti. Because both energies emanate from the Lord Vasudeva, the all-pervasive Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is known as both Prakriti and Purusha. Therefore, Vasudeva is the cause of everything, Sarvakarana Karana. Om Jnanadibhrantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Here, the demigods are continuing their prayers for protection. So here, in the beginning of the verse, it is mentioned how the Lord appears in various incarnations. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavatara Makarot Bhuvaneshu Kichit. So this is the position of the Supreme Lord. Through His inconceivable potencies, He can appear in any form. So Prahlad Maharaj says in the 7th canto, in the 9th chapter, in his prayers, he repeats these words like different species of life. Devarshi Tiryang Nrishu. This is the same point that Prahlad Maharaj mentions, that he appears among the Devas. For example, as Vamanadev in his expanded form as Trivikrama or Upendra. He is the Lord in the planets of the demigods. And is it mentioned here in the translation? He comes among the sages as Parashurama, the Lord who carries the axe, and among the animals like Varahadev and Narasimhadev, and among the aquatics as Kurma and Matsya. So in this way, the Lord can accept any form. And why does He accept different forms? To give protection, to elevate that particular species of life and to benefit the entire world. So this is the purpose of incarnation. And even though the Lord appears in different forms and different species of life, He is never fallen from His original position. So He is Achyuta. He is Achyuta because He never fails to reciprocate to His devotees. And He is Achyuta because He is never fallen from the constitutional position. So there is no চ্যুতি for the Supreme Lord. So Achyuta because of two reasons. He is never fallen in reciprocation to His devotees, and He is never fallen from His constitutional position. So we can see the form of the Lord in various incarnations. So here, demigods are praying to the Lord for protection because they know that they are in trouble. They know that they are in trouble and they want protection. And so they approach the Lord and they are offering these beautiful prayers. Now, when you come to this, and also it's mentioned, He is the Supreme Lord as the deity of all the living entities, and ultimately He is the not ultimately, in this universal form, we can see as the Virat Purusha. So he mentions various aspects of the Supreme Lord. So if you read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, in the second canto, we can see a description of Virat Rupa, the universal form. That is the first step of God realization, as Prabhupada writes. Why it is first step of God realization? Because we don't have transcendental eyes to see the Supreme Lord. And if someone lacks faith in accepting the worshipable deity of the form, at least they can see this universe in itself as the body of the Lord with awe and reverence. And so it is considered the first step in God realization. Certainly, it is not the transcendental form of the Lord, but at least one can see this as the body of the Lord, manifesting through material energies. So that is the significance of Virat Rupa. Of course, as one progresses, one will be able to accept and understand the spiritual form of the Lord. And that's what we have to come up to. Since devotees have faith in it, we can worship the Archa Vigraha, the deity form of the Lord, which is not different from the Lord himself. Because the Lord can manifest in any form. And here, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada particularly quotes Sridhara Swami and his Bhavartha Deepika. The Sridhara Swami is the final authority on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So if you want to understand the purport or meaning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Sridhara Swami is considered the final authority. So his commentary is being accepted by Lord Chaitanya himself. Lord Chaitanya never appreciated whoever rejected the commentaries of Sridhara Swami. So Sridhara Swami appeared even much before Lord Chaitanya. And in his Bhavartha Deepika, he explains the meaning of different Bhagavatam verses. So it is mentioned, Sridhara Swami was able to write commentary on Bhagavatam by the blessings of Lord Narasimhadev. So Lord Narasimhadev is the worshipable deity of Sridhara Swami. So that's why we hear this pastime from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where when Vallabhacharya told Mahaprabhu and his associates in Jagannath Puri that he has written a commentary which is even better than Sridhara Swami's commentary, Mahaprabhu was very upset. He made a very sarcastic statement. Mahaprabhu told, one who rejects Swami is a prostitute. Okay. What is the meaning of Swami? So he took Swami means husband. So another meaning of Swami is husband. So he referred to Sridhara Swami as Swami, and he said one who rejects one's own husband is a prostitute. So this is the statement of Mahaprabhu to make the point that one has to accept the statements of Sridhara Swami and the previous acharyas. So in bhakti culture and in bhakti knowledge, we are not known for our creative writings or creative presentations as such. Of course, one can use one's creativity, no harm in it. But we are not trying to present something new. Rather, we are simply following in the footsteps of the acharyas. And all our acharyas are very careful in presenting transcendental knowledge, not deviating from the parampara, and also even not to plagiarize within the parampara. For example, in the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami makes a statement, why am I attempting to write these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya? He mentions that Vrindavan Das Thakur, who is Vyasadeva himself. So for Krishna's pastime, Vyasadeva is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. However, Vyasa, or one who compiles the verses on pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, is Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he wrote Chaitanya Bhāgavata. However, Vrindavan Das Thakur only focused on the early pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, his childhood pastimes and his youth. But after sannyas, Vrindavan Das Thakur didn't mention. He mentioned only very briefly. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions that I am presenting these pastimes to elaborate the sannyas ceremony and further pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, which were not revealed at that point. So they are very careful in presenting in line with the parampara, at the same time not overstepping any acharyas nor giving any imaginary commentaries. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a beautiful verse that this is spoken by Lord Shiva himself. Aham vedmi Shuko veti Vyaso veti na vetiva Bhaktya Bhāgavatam grahyam na buddhya na jathikaya. So it's mentioned, Aham vedmi. Lord Shiva says, I know the devotional purports of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Because Lord Shiva is a Parampara-Acharya. He is Mahajan. Shuko veti. Shukadev Goswami, he also knows the entire meaning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam because he heard it from his father and he has assimilated everything. Of course, it is his personal experience as well. Yasyanibhavam akhila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepam adititirshatam tamondham samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam yam vyasa sunum upayami guru muninam. This is the initial prayers in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, in the first canto itself. His yasyanibhavam akhila shruti saramekam. He has experienced everything. He has understood by realization. So Shuko Veti, Shukadev Goswami knows all the meaning of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. That's why Shukamukhat Amrita Drava Samyutam. Have you heard this? Shukamukhat, where it is coming from Bhāgavatam? From the mouth of Shukadeva. What is the meaning of Shuka? Parrot. You all know the meaning is parrot. So only tasty, sweet fruits are touched by the beak of the parrot. So if a fruit is there and if you see, okay, it is touched by the beak of the parrot, then you know it is good. Recently, one person was telling, if you are buying organic food, organic fruits, there will be some problem. It will not be perfect in seeing. If it is chemically processed, something wrong. Similarly, if it is touched by the beak of parrot, it is good fruit because they don't want to eat anything wrong. So, this is Shukamukhat Amrita Drava Samyutam. This is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So, Shuko Veti and Vyaso Veti na Vetiva. Meaning, Vyasadeva may know the meaning or may not know the meaning. Of course, Vyasadeva knows the meaning, but such a statement is given to show that he presented Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. At the same time, he acted as an instrument. So, in that sense, it's mentioned. That's all. He may not know, but he knows the meaning, of course. But then the point is, Bhaktya Bhāgavatam grahyam na buddhya na jatikaya. Just by reading intellectual analysis or just reading or imaginary commentaries, one cannot know Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Rather, one has to know Bhāgavatam in the light of devotion. How? By being engaged in devotional service, one should read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and other books. Then one can know Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. It's a very amazing aspect. Even a devotee may not be scholarly, may not be so studious, but by sincerely chanting Krishna's names and being engaged in devotional service, when such a devotee opens Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and reads, at any point, he will be able to understand. It will make sense. So this is the way one can assimilate Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. To that extent, any other devotional scriptures such as Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita or other books. So it is through devotional service. So one need to know Bhagavatam in the fire of devotional service. That is the only way one can understand Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Otherwise, it will not stick to us. It will not come to the heart. One may know, one may read, one may memorize, but that will not touch our heart and there will not be any transformation of consciousness. So, bhakti means practical devotional service. Very important. Through that one can understand Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. What Bhāgavatam? That coming from the parampara. And that's why there is this reference from Bhavartha Deepika of Sridhar Swami. In first Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami, in the Bhagavata Sandarbhas, first Sandarbha is Tattva Sandarbha. Tattva Sandarbha, the main reference of Sri Jiva Goswami is from Bhavartha Deepika. Primary reference is from Bhavartha Deepika, showing that he is following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See the significance. And now, let's get into the philosophical aspects as presented by Sridhar Swami, as explained by Srila Prabhupada. So it is mentioned that, see the statement, Param Pradhanam Purusham Vishwamanyam. He is the supreme cause represented as the male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form. So here the explanation is given is, there are two energies, the Prakriti and Purusha. And in this particular context, Prakriti is referring to what? And Purusha is referring to what? Who is Purusha? Did anyone hear the purport? Who is Purusha? Exactly, the living beings are Purusha, and Prakriti is material energy. So this Prakriti and Purusha can be used in different contexts. So let's consider the first context that is mentioned in this purport, that is, Purusha is us. Purusha, what is the meaning of Purusha? Anyone knows the meaning of Purusha? Living entity, but there is a meaning to it. Purusha. No. Enjoyer. Purusha, very important to know. Purusha means enjoyer. So the living entities, what are living entities trying to do in this material world? Trying to enjoy, isn't it? We are trying to manipulate matter to enjoy. So the living entity is Purusha, and we are trying to enjoy the body and the senses. What is that? This body is Prakriti, because body is made of Prakriti, material energy. And the senses and the sense objects, they are all part of Prakriti, and the Purusha is trying to enjoy that. So the whole entire existence of this material world, our life or material life means the combination of Purusha and Prakriti. That's all. That's all we can see in this world. That's why Krishna mentions in the 7th chapter, Bhumira Apo Analo Vayu Kammano Buddhirevacha. So the different eightfold material energies are mentioned. And there, that is Apara Prakriti, not Para. This says Apareyam Itastanyam Prakriti Vidhima Apara Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho Etan Dharyate Jagat. So there again it's mentioned. Jiva Bhuta, the Purusha is trying to enjoy these eightfold material energies in the form of senses and sense objects. Senses including mind and sense objects. So if you want to wrap it up, this material existence, what's going on? The interaction between the senses and the sense objects. That's all. So in that process, the Purusha is trying to enjoy. In other words, the living entity identifying with the matter, thinking oneself to be mind and the senses, trying to enjoy the interaction between the senses and sense object. That's all. That is the material existence. In one line, that's material existence. Whatever is going on, it can be in the form of election, it can be in the form of all different kinds of objects of sense gratification. Everything is nothing but the combination of senses and the sense object. That's all. In which the Purusha is trying to exploit the Prakriti, but Purusha is never getting satisfaction. That's all. As Prabhupada says, what is material desire? Material desire means that which cannot be satisfied. Simple. So everything we can define very simply, not complicated. Material desire means that which cannot be fulfilled. That's all. So the Purusha is trying to be engaged with Prakriti to find fulfillment which is not there. Please think about our own life. In very subtly, maybe very grossly, we are trying to do that even though we are trying to be devotees. Right? So many material desires come to the mind. And subtly we try to enjoy, and sometimes grossly as well. So as devotees, we need to see this, and we need to catch ourselves. As Maharaj was mentioning yesterday, we may think we are innocent devotees. What's wrong in this interaction between the senses and the sense objects? What's wrong? But according to Shastra, this is the problem. This is the problem. So if you want to enjoy separate from Krishna, means that is called sin. Papa is very simple. Papa means we are not giving ourselves a chance to reinstate ourselves in our constitutional position. That is sin. Sin means we are not allowing ourselves to enjoy with Krishna, to serve Krishna. That is sin. That is actually abuse. That is self-abuse. If we are not allowing ourselves to serve Krishna, that is self-abuse. And that's what we are dealing with in this material world. So in Krishna consciousness, we are getting this opportunity to connect ourselves to Krishna. So this is one understanding of Prakriti and Purusha. Then there is a superior understanding of Prakriti and Purusha. In that, who is the Purusha? Who is the real enjoyer? Krishna. So he is the real Purusha. So he is the Adi Purusha. He is the Parama Purusha. That is the Supreme Lord. He is the original Purusha. We are not the original Purusha, but Krishna is the original Purusha. And then, who is Prakriti? What are the part of nature? Yes, nature. Can you explain? Nature means what you see around, then? Trees, flower, etc. That is part of nature. What else part of nature? Fruits, yes. Apart from this. Krishna's inferior energy. Then, one more. Krishna's superior energy. So we are also Prakriti. Can you see this relative use of the term Purusha? So this Purusha, when it refers to living entity, that is also energy of Krishna. That is superior energy of Krishna. Prakritim vidhi ma param. So we are also Prakriti, superior energy. Can you understand? So if you see from a higher perspective, Krishna is the Purusha, we are his superior energy, and matter is his inferior energy. So that is a higher understanding. So when we understand that, as it is mentioned in this purport, then we understand who is the enjoyer, who is the real enjoyer. And that is the point the devotional service starts. So we need to understand this. So then we can understand that that Purusha has to sanction for us even to enjoy materially. We can see what that Purusha, the Supreme Purusha, sanctions. So actually, who is the seer? Who is the seer? Krishna is the seer. As a super soul, he is actually seeing what's going on. And what we are seeing is only what is allowed by Krishna for us to see. So this is a different vision. So that's why we see the real seer is Krishna, and we are only a secondary seer. Krishna is the real enjoyer, we are only a secondary enjoyer. And so, whatever Krishna sanctions, only that much we can understand from Bhagavatam. We can get into bhakti, we can make progress in bhakti as much as Krishna allows us. Based on what? Based on our endeavor and Krishna's mercy. And that's why, as I mentioned earlier, Bhaktya Bhagavatam Grahyam. If you want to know Bhagavatam, we had to be engaged in devotional service. Then what happens? Krishna will reveal. So reading is aspect of it, but it's not just the reading. Krishna has to reveal. And when Krishna reveals, then we feel, that makes sense. We all had that experience as we came to Krishna consciousness, right? At one point, didn't understand anything. Maybe nice people, maybe prasadam is good, maybe chanting and dancing is nice. That was our state. But as we get engaged in devotional service, the philosophy starts clicking. and we start connecting to the holy name, we start connecting to the beautiful form of the deity, we start connecting to Srila Prabhupada, we start connecting to devotees, we start connecting to spiritual master. How it happens? Krishna is allowing. They are gifts of Krishna. So I was speaking to a senior devotee. He was mentioning, if we develop taste in any aspect of devotional service, let it be reading and studying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, let it be chanting Krishna's name, let it be in any particular service, if we develop a sincere taste in it, if we can experience that, that is certainly a big gift of Krishna. Why so? Now, maybe our life is going okay. But in devotional life also, we are conditioned beings, we will have tests and tribulations. That time, this taste will actually help us. Krishna will, okay, this taste is there, okay, come to me. You connect through this. This will give you life. This will give you encouragement. So that is our connection to Krishna. I was speaking to one devotee recently. He was mentioning, he was really going through difficult times. Not just 1 month or 2 months, a couple of years, really a difficult patch in life. Even for a materialistic person, that kind of situation is really, really difficult. Of course, it's even more difficult. And this devotee was telling me, I am connected to this one particular service, and I just took this as the thing to do, my main thing in my life. And I just started doing that, and again, and I could just go through that difficult situation. So this is connection to Krishna. This is Krishna's help. This is Krishna's gift. So this is what we are looking at. So for us, we have to perform devotional service and feel connected to devotional service. It can be one, it can be two, it can be many. But feel that connection to service, because that connection to service is connection to Krishna. That is our relationship to Krishna. So that is the connection to the ultimate Purusha. And then we feel, it is fulfilling. Even if we go through difficult times, or if we spend a few years in devotional service, we understand, yes, I have something for Krishna. I am serving Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada in Ishopanishad, in the beginning verses, one of the beginning verses, purport, he mentions, we all have our unique service for Krishna, our unique relation to Krishna. So this is our unique position. So in Krishna consciousness, it's all about uniqueness, it's about personality. We have our personality and we have our ultimate personality in which we are connecting to Krishna, and Krishna does reciprocate to individually according to our service. So Krishna consciousness is an opportunity to connect to Krishna, to connect to the ultimate Purusha. So here we are trying to be the enjoyers as Purusha, trying to exploit matter, the Prakriti. So when we forget that, and when we understand that, look, I am actually a Prakriti, meaning I am a servant of Krishna, and I can serve Krishna, and in that way, through pleasing Krishna, we can experience happiness. That is the higher form of happiness. So Bhakti Yoga is an experiential process where we can experience this on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we are looking at. So, as mentioned, the demigods, they are citing various incidents, historical evidences of various incarnations to show that the Lord, through his various incarnations, have protected the demigods, and now the time has come again. So please protect us. In this mood, the demigods are offering their prayers. And similarly, we can pray to Krishna because we need a lot of help, because we had to deal with a lot of anarthas and we need a lot of sincerity. So we had to pray to the Lord, not for just a material protection, rather to protect our bhakti, to help us to nourish our bhakti. And then we can have that swanubhavam, we can have the experience of nourishment, as it is mentioned in Bhagavatam 11th canto. As we perform bhakti, it is like having prasadam. When you have prasadam, you experience the taste, you experience the nourishment, you become stronger, and also kshut apayanam, your hunger is gone away. Similarly, when you perform bhakti, what happens? One can experience the taste of bhakti, and one can make progress in bhakti. One get nourished, and at the same time, the material sufferings go away. These are three effects of bhakti. So we can experience in our own life. So with this, I stop and see is there any questions or comments.
One of the main aspects of this verse is about the different incarnations of Krishna. So
Yes.
briefly explain why he appears in many different species, like why he appears as
Okay, so here,
people often wonder how come he appears as
yes, so the note in the purport, in the translation, we can see so many incarnations of the Lord. So starting from Vamanadev. Why did Vamanadev appear? Do you know? Yes. Again, to help the demigods, Vamanadev appeared. Bali Maharaj was ruling even Indra's planet, which actually belongs to the demigods. So Vamanadev came as a dwarf Brahmana, asked for 3 steps of land, and then when Bali Maharaj gave that, he accepted a gigantic form. Do you know the name of that? Vamanadev, what form did he accept? Trivikrama. And then he took over the whole world and didn't have enough space, and then pushed Bali Maharaj down to Sutala. Similarly, he appeared as Parashuram with the axe in his hand to sort out the Kshatriyas who were irreligious. So he wiped out the Kshatriya clans on the planet of Earth to re-establish religion. Similarly, Narasimhadev to kill Hiranyakashipu and to protect Prahlad Maharaj, just a 5-year-old devotee boy. And Matsya, he appeared Matsya, we can read at the end of 8th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Matsya Avatar. And that time Matsya appeared to rescue King Satyavrata. And then he came as a boat and he helped the king Satyavrata and from the waters of devastation. Similarly, Kurma appeared, Kurmadev. He appeared during Samudra Manthan, when the churning of the milk ocean. So there was this truce between the demigods and the demons, and they agreed upon to have the Mandara mountain as the churning rod, and both sides they had Vasuki to churn the Mandara mountain, to churn the milk ocean, to get the Amrita, to get nectar. But Mandara mountain cannot stand still, or cannot stand in or float in the ocean, and it was just dropping inside the ocean. So the Lord appeared as Kurmadev to hold upon his body, on his back, the entire Mandara mountain, right? And then they churned and they produced Amrita and so many other things. In that way we can see, and of course we know about Krishna and Lord Rama. So in this way, various incarnations appeared. Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's right. No, because there are coverings of universe. Every universe has coverings. You might have heard about. Do you know the verse? Bhumira apanalo vayu ghammano buddhirevacha. Yes? Earth, water, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, all these different layers. So these layers are here, we have all these layers, correct? In our body, all these layers are there. Similarly, there are same layers outside this universe. So it's called, in a Brahmanda or a universe which is egg-shaped, there are different layers. So what happened? The Lord put a hole there. So that the Ganges can come, the celestial, that came and as a celestial Ganges first, and then came down to earth as our Ganges. So Ganges has many names. Some celestial region she is known as Mandagini because she flows very slowly. So many names are there. So Ganges is a big topic. So like that. Hmm. Oh, this is pastime to show that killing is not good. So even Balaram himself, he killed whom with a blade of kusha grass? Lomaharshana Sutta, right? Lomaharshana Sutta, he killed because he acted very inappropriately. So he just touched with the grass, he dropped dead. So then the Brahmana said, you are the Supreme Lord, but still you had to repent to set an example for others. Just to set an example for others. Yadyat acharati shreshtaha. You know that verse? What is the next? So if the great people, if we set a wrong example, it can be problem. So Parashuram, he killed and he repented. Even though it was for a purpose, it was the right reason, but still, like that. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Oh, okay. The origin of Sridhara Swami. Sridhara Swami is technically coming from a Shankara Sampradaya, a Mayava Sampradaya. But he is a hidden devotee. In the sense, he is actually a devotee. He is a very advanced, pure devotee. So his commentary is devotional commentary. At the same time, even in Sridhara Swami's commentary, some areas it may look like impersonal. So that's the reason we cannot just quote Sridhara Swami's commentary, just like that. So it is mentioned, he mentions some points which may look like Mayavad, impersonal, that is to attract them, the Mayavadis also, so that they can understand the devotional points, ultimately. So Jiva Goswami never quotes any of those purports of Sridhara Swami. He makes it clearly devotional. So it's not that Sridhara Swami is a Mayavadi. That's not right. So he may use some tactics to get everyone. So the interesting thing is that including Mayavadis, all accept the commentary of Sridhara Swami. So not only Vaishnavas, even non-Vaishnavas, they accept the commentary of Sridhara Swami. So that is the preaching tactics. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If not, thank you. Hare Krishna. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.